Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen. The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news, the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Taiz, Mardini said, and in Hodeidah, where the country's main port is located, the ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November of dengue fever and malaria, and the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000, and close to 3,000 have malaria. So you can imagine, with the violence and the fighting, it is a big challenge to control this epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Tai's governorate last week, and local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of late Thursday, ECHO said, 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported in the governorate. It said 3,215 were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating illness caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquitoes, and cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria. Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen. The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news, the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Taiz, Mardini said, and in Hodeidah, where the country's main port is located, the ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November of dengue fever and malaria, and the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000, and close to 3,000 have malaria. So you can imagine, with the violence and the fighting, it is a big challenge to control this epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Tai's governorate last week, and local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of late Thursday, ECHO said, 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported in the governorate. It said 3,215 were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating illness caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquitoes, and cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria. Red
Red
Cross
Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen.
The
The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths.
Robert
Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news, the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation.
It is
not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with the tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria. He said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Taiz, Mardini said, and in Hodeida, where the country's main port is located. The ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November of dengue fever and malaria. The local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000, and close to 3,000 have malaria. So you can imagine, with the violence and the fighting, it is a big challenge to control this epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Thai's governorate last week, and the local health authorities expect the death toll to increase. As of last Thursday, ECHO said 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported in the governorate.
It said 3,215
were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals.
Dengue fever
is a painful, debilitating disease caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes and breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquito, and cholera. 这是疟疾 cholera 霍乱 Cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated. 疟疾登革热霍乱 Cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria.
Red Cross reports new outbreak of
dengue fever in Yemen.
Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen. The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday. With thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini.
Several dozen deaths. With thousands of cases reported and
ICRC's UN observer told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news, the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Thai's, Mardini said.
Reported in Taiz, Mardini said.
And in Hodeida, where the country's main port is located, the ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November.
In late October and nearly November
of dengue fever and malaria, and the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000,
2,000 and close to 3,000 have malaria.
So you can
So you
imagine,
can
with the
imagine,
violence
with
of
the
the fighting,
violence of the
it is a
fighting,
big challenge to
there's big
control this
challenge to
epidemic,
control the
Mardini
epidemic.
said.
The epidemic, Mardini said.
The European
The
Commission's
European Commission's
humanitarian aid
humanitarian
operation, known as ECHO,
known as ECHO,
reported that 10 people
10
died of
people
dengue
died
fever
dengue fever
in Thai's
in
government
Thai's
last week,
governor,
and local
and
health
the local
authorities
health
expected the
authorities
death toll
expect
to
death toll
increase.
to increase.
As of late
As of
Thursday,
late
ECHO
Thursday,
said,
ECHO said
7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported at the governorate. It said
It says
3,215 were
3,215
confirmed,
reported
and
confirmed, and
103 patients were
103
under
patients were
observation in
observation
government
in
hospitals.
government hospitals.
Dengue fever is a
Dengue fever
painful,
is a
debilitating
painful,
illness
debilitating
caused by
illness
viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water.
water.
Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquitoes. And cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria.
Contaminated by bacteria.
Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen. The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak
of Red Cross reported a
of
new
dengue fever
outbreak
in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths.
With thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. With thousand
Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen,
while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen,
which is
positive news,
the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said.
More than
3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Thais, Mardini said, and in Hodeida, where the country's main port is located. The ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November of dengue fever and malaria, and the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000, and close to 3,000 have malaria.
3,000 have malaria.
So you can imagine, with the violence of the fighting, it is a big challenge to control this epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Thai's government last week, and local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of late Thursday, ECHO said, 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported in the governorate. It said 3,215 were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating illness caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquitoes, and cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria. Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen.
The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been big escalated fighting in Yemen, which is positive news, the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It's not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Thais, Mardini said, and in Hodeida, where the country's main port is located, the ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November of dengue fever and malaria. And the local head office reported the number of people infected with the dengue fever is 2,000 and close to 3,000 have malaria. So you can imagine, with the violence and the fighting, it is a big challenge to control the epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Thai's government rate last week, and the local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of last Thursday, ECHO said 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported in the government rate. It said 3,215 were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating disease caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by parasite, also transmitted by mosquitoes, and cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria.
Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen.
The International Committee Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever
in war-torn Yemen on Monday,
with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists
has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news. The Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Thais,
Mardini said, and Hodeida,
where the country's main port is located. The ICRC heard that 50 people died in late October and early November of dengue fever and malaria, and the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000 and close to 3,000 have malaria.
And close to 3,000 have malaria.
So you can imagine, with the violence fighting, it is a big challenge to control this epidemic,
Mardini said.
The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Thai's government last week, and local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of late Thursday, ECHO said, 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported at the government. It said 3,215 were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating illness caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquitoes. And cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria. Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue
fever in Yemen.
The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday.
In war-torn Yemen on Monday.
Cases
with reported
and several
dozen deaths.
Robert Mardini,
ICRC's UN observer,
told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news,
the Arab world's
poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria,
he said.
More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Taiz, Mardini said. And in Hodeidah, where the country's main port is located, the
the RCRC heard that 50 people died
in early November
late on early November of dengue fever and malaria.
And the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000 and close to 3,000 have malaria.
So you can imagine
with the violence it is a big challenge to control this epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Thai's government last week, and local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of late Thursday, ECHO said 7,970 cases of dengue fever were reported in the governor. It said 3,215 were confirmed, and 103 patients were under observation in government hospitals. Dengue fever is a painful, debilitating illness caused by viruses transmitted by mosquitoes that breed in stagnant water. Malaria is caused by a parasite also transmitted by mosquitoes, and cholera is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated by bacteria. Red Cross reports new outbreak of dengue fever in Yemen. The International Committee of the Red Cross reported a new outbreak of dengue fever in war-torn Yemen on Monday, with thousands of cases reported and several dozen deaths. Robert Mardini, the ICRC's UN observer, told journalists that while there has been a de-escalation of fighting in Yemen, which is positive news, the Arab world's poorest nation faces a very dire humanitarian situation. It is not only facing an escalation in dengue cases, but must also continue
but must also continue to deal with tens of thousands of cholera cases as well as malaria, he said. More than 3,500 cases of dengue have been reported in Taiz, Mardini said.
And in Hodeidah, where the country's main port is located,
where the country's main port is located, heard that 50 people died in October, early November of dengue fever and malaria.
And the local head office reported the number of people infected with dengue fever is 2,000 and close to 3,000 have malaria. So you can imagine with the violence and the fighting, it is a big challenge to control this epidemic, Mardini said. The European Commission's humanitarian aid operation, known as ECHO, reported that 10 people died of dengue fever in Thai's government last week, and local health authorities expected the death toll to increase. As of late
As
Thursday,
of late
ECHO
Thursday,
said,
ECHO said
7,970 cases of
7,970
dengue
cases
fever were
in
reported
fever
in the
reported
governorate.
in
It said 3,215 were
3,215
confirmed,
were
and
confirmed.
103 patients were under observation in government
in
hospitals.
government hospitals.
Dengue fever is a
Dengue fever
painful,
is a painful,
debilitating illness
debilitating
caused by
illness
viruses
caused by
transmitted by
transmitted
mosquitoes that breed
mosquitoes
in stagnant water.
breeding net water.
Malaria is caused by
Malaria
a
is a
parasite also
parasite also
transmitted by
transmitted by
mosquitoes. And
mosquitoes.
cholera is
And
caused by
cholera
eating
is
food
caused
or
by eating
drinking
food or
water
drinking water
contaminated by
contaminated
bacteria.
by bacteria. Contaminated by bacteria.